Hi, this is Les-Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. Some stories are starting to leak out from several sources that Major League Baseball is about ready to have opening day on Wednesday, July 1st. And there are some reports that the Indians have actually told their players to be ready for that. You know something? I feel like the old light beer commercial. Remember that? Great taste, less filling. I feel strongly both ways. You know how I love the game of baseball, but I don't know how we can determine if it's safe for players, employees, and eventually the fans. They can experiment without fans, but eventually they're going to have to bring them into stadiums, and I'm afraid there's a possibility that might be catastrophic. We'll wait and see. The D-man, Dennis-Manoloff, is here. More Sports and Les-Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les-Levine, it's a Wednesday night. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les-Levine into its 24th consecutive year, seen exclusively on cleveland.com. It is Wednesday. That must mean the D-man, Dennis-Manoloff, is here. Hello, Dennis. How are you? There you are.
I'm good, all things considered, Les, but I really miss classic teleproduction studios.
Well, we're still part of the vast worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les-Levine.
Indeed.
All right, so we're getting a new source is Trevor Plouffe, former Minnesota Twin, former Philadelphia Philly, didn't play last year. He's now sending out that he's hearing rumors that Major League Baseball is going to start on July 1st. What do you think of that, and do you think there's anything to it?
Well, I think there is something to it in Trevor Plouffe's mind. He wouldn't go with it if he didn't believe in it, and he is a former player, and he talked about multiple sources. I do think MLB is going to play this season, so he wouldn't be inaccurate about that. As far as the starting point, I don't see it much earlier than spring training in June and the season beginning in July. And as far as what form that takes, I don't know. But I will say, wait, the last part of that tweet, though, was he talking about every home ballpark being available?
I believe so. And
that's where I disagree with him, if in fact that's what he said, because I don't think it's realistic for MLB to think that they're going to play games in some of the COVID hotbeds, notably New York. I think that's an extremely dicey proposition. Even if you don't have fans, it's very difficult for me to believe they're going to try to play at Yankee Stadium or Citi Field.
Well, here's the other thing that you keep hearing when these rumors come out or speculation comes out. Nobody's turning down the fact that it'll happen. But if a player or somebody as part of the game winds up positive, that's a problem, because I believe what I've seen, if somebody becomes positive, then you got to stop for 3 weeks. Well, if you stop for 3 weeks, you may as well stop for the season. You got over 900 players now. Major League Baseball talking about expanding to a 30-man roster instead of 25, and you have the ancillary people out there, even though you don't have fans. One person, I mean, the odds are pretty good. One person is going to be showing up positive, I would think.
Yeah, I didn't hear what you were talking about, Les, or I hadn't heard that everything has to be shut down if somebody's testing positive. I would test every player the day of the game, and if anybody tested positive, they're out in their quarantine. But if you tested negative, you would be allowed to play. Maybe that's too simplistic, but here's another thing, Les. I think what you do need to do to be realistic about it, if you're MLB, is to play in a finite number of venues, meaning not try to play in all 30, even 20, even 15. My proposal is 8. 4 hubs of 2. So I just don't think you're going to want, because what you can do there, limit the number of venues you play in, you can control the environment that much better.
Right. Well, there's a report, and I mentioned in the opening, and I said the Indians players were advised of that. They were not. It was the front office advised. They had a meeting, a teleconference meeting with about 40 key executives, and they talked about being ready at this point for a July 1st opening. So that would mean to me that it won't be earlier than, as you alluded to, Dennis, that would seem to be that you're not going to get it before July 1st. If you do, from a competitive standpoint, if you do start on July 1st, that's 3 months worth of half a season, which I think is acceptable to most fans to make it a legitimate season.
Correct, Les. We've talked about this on previous shows. What makes an MLB season, regular season, legitimate? Obviously, you'd like it to be 162, but in the event of a global pandemic, what's an acceptable number? I think we had talked about a minimum of 82, which is one more than the majority, but I think a nice target range is 100 to 120. You want to see triple digits, I think, in an MLB season, because so much of building an MLB team is about the marathon. So you have to weave that into the fabric when you're coming up with a solution during a pandemic. But I would suggest something in the neighborhood of 100 to 120 games over the span of 3 to 3.5 months. And
bunch of double headers.
What's that?
Bunch of double headers.
Yeah, you'd have to do that for sure. And again, I would limit the number of venues the games are played. I would not do the Cactus League, Grapefruit League shuffle. I think you can play games in major league ballparks with no fans and regulate the testing at certain venues, especially low concentrations of COVID outbreak.
You know, I also wonder what if there's a player, although they're going to have to, the Players Association is going to have to agree with whatever decision they make. But what if a player says, no, I'm not risking my health, my career, my life. I don't want to do that. I wonder what they'll do in that case.
Yeah, that's a great question. I would think that if the league agrees to go ahead and play, and you've heard, Tony Clark with MLBPA say that the players want to go. So if the agreement is to go and play, and there is a dissenter or a conscientious objector, if you will, then that person would risk not getting paid, I would imagine, for the season.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. You can email us during the show at real-les-levine@gmail.com. All right, that talks about baseball, and we'll continue that discussion. Now there's some basketball news, although I look at it kind of strangely here. The Cavs have announced that they're opening up their practice facilities on Friday of this week. Only the gym, the weight room, and the training room will be available. A max of 4 guys in the facility at a time, each with their own basketball and in a half-court setting. In fact, those basketballs will be labeled with the guy's name. Coaching staff not permitted, mask to be worn at all times, 2 basketballs per player, each with their own name on it. Balls will be wiped down and sanitized after each use. What do you think of that? They're actually trying to get games in the rest of this year, which I think I would just, Dennis, I think I would just aim at getting a 4-team playoff, 2 in the East, 2 in the West, and play it out, or maybe go more than that and make them 2 out of 3 series. I'm not sure. I don't think there's a groundswell to get the regular season actually completed in the NBA.
Yeah, that's where I agree with you. I think that if they are going to restart the NBA season, it should start with the playoffs, seeding as is, 1 through 8, when the pandemic hit. I'll tell you this, Les, though. Going from what you listed, what Brian and Mike listed on the graphic there, to actually playing games seems to me to be unrealistic in any sort of time frame. And if you're going to be sanitizing balls and assigning balls to individual players and only 4 guys at a time and masks, how are you going to go from that to playing games in a matter of a couple of months?
Yeah,
that doesn't jive with me.
No, you're talking about NBA ready, and I just don't see how that's possible if they slowly break in there. I mean, I guess it's a good sign that somebody thinks something is going to happen. I suppose that's a good sign, but I'm not sure I need to see NBA basketball the rest of this year.
Plus, I don't know that you need to see the bottom feeders playing out the season.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Unfortunately, the Cavs are part of that group. But sorry, you had enough games to prove your mettle or not prove your mettle. I don't see the point of playing it out for teams that are out of the playoff chase.
Okay, we got a programming note here. Tomorrow is the the night when the NFL is going to release their schedule. We already know the teams that will be playing, but for you who watch us from 6 until 7 p.m., we're going to ask you to move it up an hour or move it back an hour. We're going to be on from 7 to 8 tomorrow. That way, the NBA or the NFL is actually announcing their schedule at about 7:30. So we'll be on from 7 until 8. That'll be tomorrow night. You can have instant reaction to it. That is tomorrow night right here on cleveland.com. 216-575-0403 if you want to get in on the action. Did you know the Ohio Lottery has paid out over $1 billion in winnings over the last 6 months? People are winning in record numbers, and winning is happening all around the state of Ohio. Play an Ohio Lottery game and play it today. We'll come on back. We'll see what Andrew Berry is up to and more. More Sports and Les-Levine continues with Dennis-Manoloff exclusively on cleveland.com.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Do you like Ohio State football? Would you like to get information from me, Doug Lesmerises, about Ohio State football without having to look at my face? We have got the plan for you. Become an Ohio State text subscriber through cleveland.com. You send a text, 614-350-3315. What do you get? 2, 3, 4 texts right in your phone every day about Ohio State football. Inside information, polls, voting, all kinds of things. You can be on our podcast. We take text subscriber questions on our Buckeye Talk podcast every week. If you really want to be involved with Ohio State football, in season or out of season, become an Ohio State text subscriber from cleveland.com. Send a text to 614-350-3315. 14-day free trial. What do you have to lose? $3.99 a month after that. 614-350-3315. I'll see you in your phone.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had 2 choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students, kindergarten through 12th grade, can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Birthdays for today, I don't know, I'll ask D-Man in a minute. I'm going to say one of the top 5 players in history, Willie Mays, born in 1931. The Lester of Two Evils, 1947. Jason Witten, Chris Paul, Goran Dragic, and Jose Altuve, one of my favorite players until about 3 months ago. No longer. 216-575-0403. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/more-sports-les-levine with new content is posted each and every day. We post a question, you respond, you get it on the air on Facebook.com. The D-Man, Dennis-Manoloff, is with us. What do you think? Willie Mays, we'll get into football here in a second. I just threw this out, hadn't done that much thinking about it. One of the top 5 players in the game. Where do you put Willie?
I'm sorry, you were saying?
Well, I put the Willie Mays, whose birthday is today, I put him in the top 5 in history. Where do you put him?
Exactly where you put him, top 5. I'm thinking of Hank Aaron and Willie Mays as 2 guys who I think are absolutely awesome and would be in that group for sure. I obviously respect guys like Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig, but I do think about post-integration players, and how that competition is so much stiffer. So I definitely put Mays and Aaron up there, and of course, got Bob Feller. You got to talk about too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a top 10er, I think, or top 15 at a minimum.
I would, in that discussion, I think I would keep pitchers separate from position players, but you're right. He's certainly one of the top. I'm not sure about that. My first reaction is maybe top 6 pitchers, because
Yeah, that's fair.
I'd have Bob Gibson in there somewhere. I'd have to think about that a little bit more. But Willie Mays, one of the all-time greats. That's when I wish they had interleague play. See, if you're a Cleveland fan, you get to see Willie Mays, which you didn't get to do. All right, let's turn to football for a minute. We mentioned this a little bit last night. Andrew Berry told Ian Rappaport that he'd like to sign Myles Garrett to a long-term extension. And there is a report from Rappaport suggesting that Myles Garrett could make $25 million a year. Do you believe that number?
I believe any number coming out of the NFL pipeline. But listen, I know it's important for Myles Garrett's bank account, but in my mind, I want Myles to just focus on redemption for what he did last year. And, I realize it's not the way of the world or the NFL world these days, that he's going to be dented in the pocketbook by what he did last year. But to me, there's got to be, repentance, if you will, from Garrett. So I want to see a full season of dominance in 2020. I'm not worried about how much he gets paid.
I get the feeling you're going to get that dominance, but we'll see if there is a season.
But less.
Yeah.
I'd like him to be motivated by what he did. In other words, I want to make right by what I did to my teammates last year. I don't know if that's necessarily how he's going to be wired, but I wish it were.
Well, we'll wait and see on that. Let's take a look at what makes Myles Garrett so valuable. If that money is there, he had about a third of all the tackles were done by him over the last 2 years. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, we blame a lot of people for last year's disaster, 6-10 debacle. But listen, I mean, Myles Garrett's got to be on that list. I don't think he gets blamed as much as he probably should, because that's a self-inflicted suspension that cost his team dearly.
I agree with that. Now, Mack-Wilson came on at the end last year, a rookie last year. He now says he wants to be a legend in Cleveland. Do you like hearing that from somebody this young along the way, or is that okay, or would you rather somebody got up to him and said, "Hey, hang on, you got to prove yourself a little bit more than what you did so far"?
Yeah, you know what? That's an age-old debate, especially in these parks, Les, when we're talking about Cleveland teams who, prior to LeBron in 2016, hadn't done anything worth a championship in decades upon decades. But I always fall, or almost always fall, on the side of the guy exuding confidence than I do on the little guy, the guy, I just got to prove myself. I want to be super humble. I want my players to be confident, borderline cocky, even if they don't have a resume.
And if they don't show it, you do want to know that they're thinking along those lines. You don't want them to be afraid of it. When we get back, we're going to check out some of the biggest holes on the Browns and the rest of the AFC North when we get back. We'll take a break and come on back in a moment. Northeast Factory Direct, East, West, and South, they've got those locations. But what you really want to check out is northeastfactorydirect.com. Alex is at all 3 locations each and every day. So he's also got his cell phone number out there at 216-288-1808. If you have any questions, you all know Alex from the TV commercials that he does. Check it out, northeastfactorydirect.com. We'll take a break. We'll come back in a moment to see if you agree with what Football Outsiders. I always thought there was Football Insiders you need, but now there's a coalition out there called the Outsiders, so we'll check that when we get back. Don't forget, tomorrow night we'll be on from 7 to 8 p.m. instead of 6 to 7. as the NFL has said teams can release their schedule at 7:30 tomorrow night. We'll be here from 7 to 8. We'll take a break, coming back in a moment with Dennis-Manoloff. More Sports and Les-Levine, seen exclusively on cleveland.com.
Celebrate Naturestone's 30-year anniversary with a free Naturestone floor. During 2020, we will be giving away 30 free floors to 30 very lucky customers to say thank you for making Naturestone the best concrete flooring solution for garages, basements, and more. Call or visit naturestone.com today to register to win, and we'll send you a copy of our new buyer's guide absolutely free. There's no purchase necessary. Winners will be chosen monthly. With over 30 million square feet installed for more than 60,000 customers, it's easy to see why I always say it's not just a floor. Wow, it's Naturestone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just a mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Time for a How Come Quickie. How come if Major League Baseball starts on July 1st, some concessions will have to be made, but not for the fans? Won't have any concessions. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Dennis-Manoloff is with us, WTAM. You got a couple of gigs this week, right, D-Man?
Yes, sir. Thursday night, tomorrow night, 7 to 10, and then Mother's Day, 4 to 7.
What's a Sunday? It's just another Sunday. So
Not Easter.
no, that's a different one, no question about that. All right, ESPN's Football Outsiders list their biggest hole on the Cleveland Browns. Let's take a look at what they say that biggest hole is. The Outsiders say yet another AFC North team that had an excellent draft. The Browns plugged a lot of their obvious holes. Denzel-Ward's status as number one corner is pretty secure, but Greedy Williams had an up-and-down rookie season. The Browns brought Kevin Johnson off on a nice rebound year in Buffalo, and Terrence Mitchell has had some decent years, but hasn't exactly been terrific the whole time. The elements to have a good full cornerback unit might be somewhere in this group. Maybe even the Andrew Sendejo gets involved in the middle of this, but that's far from a certainty. Well, they're not totally dissing that unit, right? I think most people would say that the biggest problem is the linebackers and then maybe the secondary and then go from there.
Yes, Les. If the Browns are going to be any good, they better not have weaknesses on offense, because the offense looks stacked. I mean, we said that going into last year, and look what happened. But, I mean, if you have Baker-Mayfield, Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham Jr., Rashard Higgins, the offensive line, including Conklin and now Wills, and you've also got Hooper and Njoku, you better be able to move the ball, and and of course Chubb and Hunt, you better be able to move the ball, you better be able to score. Defensively, I think, is the weakness, and within the defense, linebackers, of course, largely untested, unproven. We like to hear as I said, I like to hear Mack-Wilson's confidence, but he hasn't proven anything in the league. So we'll see what happens with linebacker. There is some choppiness at safety. And I'll say this too, Les. After Myles Garrett, assuming he isn't suspended and healthy and plays well, I'm not as in love with that D line as maybe some people are.
Why, lack of depth?
I mean, I don't even know that the frontline guys are all that great. I mean, maybe Sheldon Richardson, it was better than I thought last year. Ogunjobi's good. Okay, fine. But I still need a legitimate edge rusher. Even if I give you Ogunjobi and Richardson again, I got to have somebody off the edge opposite of Garrett that I can rely on.
Did I hear you say that with the offense, are you expecting this team to just try to outscore everybody, or what are you thinking along those lines?
I'm simply saying that heading into the season, it certainly appears as though the offense it has more weapons than the defense. And, again, you begin with your number one overall draft pick at quarterback just a few years ago. So I like what the Browns have offensively more than I like what they have defensively. It doesn't mean I'm dogging the defense. It just means I have high expectations for the offense, given the names on the back of the jerseys, given the production at various points in their careers, and with the all-important upgrade of the offensive line.
You know, with Stefanski coming in like this and all the things you just said about the talent level, I'm wondering if Baker-Mayfield has to be at that top talent level, or he's got enough things that if he just controls the game a little bit more than he's done in the past, might be what Stefanski wants out of him. I think part of that is the running game and having a fullback as part of the offense and a couple of tight ends. I just think that while you have to have the quarterback play very well, I think maybe he's taking the ball out of his hands a little bit, which could be a good thing.
Les, you make a fascinating point that hasn't been made by a lot of people, and that's why you're the best at what you do. Think about Stefanski coming from Minnesota, where he had two classic game managers, Kirk Cousins and Case Keenum. And he got the best out of Case Keenum for sure in 2017, and he got the best out of Cousins presumably last year. So I think that Stefanski, while recognizing that Mayfield is number one overall as a draft pick and does have a lot of arm talent, he also says, you know what, if you execute within my system and we share the ball, you don't need to put up eye-popping numbers for us to win.
Right, good point. All right, we talked about the roster holes for the Browns. What about the rest of the AFC North? Let's take a look at them, see what we have. Cincinnati Bengals, their offensive line is a problem. And the Baltimore Ravens have an interior offensive line problem also. And then we go down to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They think the problem is quarterback. It's a great statement about one of the outsiders there. And he's talking about Ben Roethlisberger and his weight. He says it's 240 pounds, but that's merely a suggestion. I don't think I've ever seen it put that way. You start at 240 and then you haggle, and how much is it really? What do you expect from Ben Roethlisberger this year?
I really don't know what to expect, Les, because as was pointed out there, he did look a little heavy, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, given that he wasn't playing. The bigger concern I have, if I'm the Steelers, regarding Roethlisberger is the arm. Did we ever get exactly what the surgery was? I mean, the speculation was rampant that it was Tommy John. I don't know how many if in fact it was, how many quarterbacks have come back from Tommy John surgery. I know it's a finite number who've actually had it. So if in fact he did have Tommy John surgery, UCL replacement, is the elbow going to respond to that? I don't know.
I don't think I've really heard of a quarterback, a starting quarterback with Tommy John surgery. Maybe that would kind of, if you hear that, it would kind of light up as something to watch for. But I can't think of one of them who's had a career ended, at least. It takes a year just to recover, and then probably 2 years to get it back where it was. I don't recall anybody having that.
Right, Les, and I don't know that he has or he hasn't, but the last time I checked, the Steelers have been very vague, and Roethlisberger's been very vague about exactly what type of surgery he had. Maybe I missed something. I don't follow the Steelers on a daily basis, but at least as of the end of last season, I didn't know exactly what was wrong with his arm that required that god-awful contraption that he was wearing. So you wonder, can he recover from that type of whatever surgery it was? Can he recover from it?
And they're not set up to have anybody to replace him full time, I would think. You can explore your interests, find a program that puts you on a path to a bright future with Tri-C. Tri-C offers more than 1,000 courses and over 140 career and technical programs. Go to tri-c.edu to find out more information. We'll come back. We'll take a look at the top receiving corps in the AFC North. More Sports and Les-Levine continues with Dennis-Manoloff exclusively on cleveland.com.
College, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had two choices. I was accepted into a four-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
Well, hello, everyone. Let me tell you a little bit about Brown's Football Insider. For only $3.99 a month, you can get text sent right to your phone each day from me, Dan Lobby, Scott Pasco, and Ellis Williams. In addition to that, you'll receive a Football Insider newsletter every day with special things from us, things that you won't see anywhere else on the site. You'll get breaking news, analysis, features, film breakdown, and things like that. Texting us directly gives you a great chance to cut through the clutter of Facebook, Twitter, other social media, and avoid the trolls. Also, it's the only way to get your questions on the Orange and Brown Talk podcast. So why should you sign up? Try a 14-day free trial. You can cancel at any time. All it takes is one text, but you won't want to cancel. We have hundreds of subscribers join us over the last year. They love it and have stayed with us. We're seeing the Football Insider community grow every week. And it's only $3.99 a month, which is less than 14 cents a day. What I like most about Football Insider is the opportunity to connect with you one-on-one and really communicate with you. So how can you become a Football Insider? You can click on cleveland.com/Browns, the blue banner at the top of the page. Or easier yet, text me at 216-208-3965. Again, that's 216-208-3965.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at smiley1.com.
This date in sports history, May 6, 1998, Chicago Cubs starter Kerry Wood strikes out 20 Houston Astros. The Astros apparently had not started cheating. I don't know if they knew they were going to be starting, but if you get struck out if 20 guys get struck out, you better start cheating. So it worked to their advantage. You weren't at Northwestern at that time, were you? It was after you. When Kerry Wood struck out 20?
Yes, I was.
You were?
Yep.
Pretty impressive. He came here at the end of his career, was not very good as a relief pitcher. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to BP, who's in Pepper Pike. Hello, BP.
Hey, guys. How you doing tonight?
Well, how about you?
Doing well, thanks.
Good.
No, I haven't talked to you guys since the NFL draft. I thought the Browns did really well, but I do feel still, like there's some holes, like with the linebackers. So I wanted to ask the D-man what he thinks of a couple of free agent linebackers. Darren Lee is one, and Nigel Bradham, I think that's his name, from the Eagles. What do you think of like those two type of guys?
Yeah, Bradham is a guy that I did a write-up about when he was coming out of Florida State. I want to say for sure Florida State. I've always liked him. He's been, with a couple of teams, but I don't know what exactly the Browns are looking for in terms of linebacker help. I know they have cap room, so we shall see. But I've always liked Bradham from a distance.
Hey, let me ask you both a question. Tomorrow, the NFL will release its schedule, and the teams can release it at 7:30. So we're doing our show tomorrow night from 7 until 8. We want to get your immediate response. But do you guys want or not want the Browns to be playing on Thanksgiving Day in Dallas because the problem is you have the short week there, which is tough to do, and then a long week after that. What you in favor of going on Thanksgiving Day to Dallas?
Yes, I am.
You are. Why? For the PR
I can answer
aspect?
that if you want. But
Yeah,
I
let me add.
I looked at the Browns' list of opponents already, and unfortunately, I've got that Dallas road game as a loss. So it's probably I don't want to ruin my Thanksgiving dinner. So I probably would rather not see that on Thanksgiving. What do you guys think?
Yeah, D-Man?
I mean, I hear what BP's saying, but give me a Thanksgiving game. I'm dying for the Browns to play on Thanksgiving. I think that would be awesome. And why not go in there and upset the Pokes in Jerry's World?
One thing I do want to mention that, Baker-Mayfield is from Texas, and he's, his jersey sells really well. He gets a lot of attention. The ratings would be huge. So that could be a huge, I wouldn't put it past the NFL to do something like that, because that could be a huge ratings bonanza. Because, like I said, Baker-Mayfield's really big in Texas.
I can't remember the last time the Browns played on Thanksgiving Day. How long ago do you think it was? It's been a while.
I don't know.
I do also want to mention, someone mentioned to me that, like last year's Browns schedule, the early part of the schedule was a gauntlet. They had Seattle and Tennessee turned out to be a really good team. They had the 49ers. So, like my buddy said, if you flip-flop last year's schedule, it would have helped the Browns. It would have had an easier schedule to start the season.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how the Browns start off their season again this year.
I'd rather play the perceived good teams because you get it over with, and the perceived good teams aren't necessarily the good teams. By the way, it's been 27 years since the Browns played on Thanksgiving in Dallas.
Interesting.
Wait, was
And
that?
also because of the coronavirus, I've heard also the NFL may not schedule like division games early in the season like they usually do.
Yeah, to save them for the end. Save them for the end for competitive reasons, for playoff spots and all that. But I think they've opened up the playoff situation that almost everybody's going to qualify anyway. D-Man, what are you thinking? I don't think you agreed with that 27.
No. I was just reflecting on it. 27 years, that puts it around 1993. So that would be Belichick going down there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. Could that possibly have been Bernie against the Cowboys at that point?
Well, 93 was the Vinny Burney controversy, so it depends on. I think he was gone by Thanksgiving Day. Seems to me it was the direct middle of the season when the Vinny Burney thing came up.
One last thing I want to mention while I'm out, you guys. ESPN just had a report. Jeremy Fowler from ESPN that the Browns a month ago were very close to signing Jadeveon Clowney. So I want to know what you think about that.
Well, I think that was addressed maybe a week or 10 days ago, saying that they were heavily into it and still hadn't walked away totally from it. So yeah, I agree that probably was the case.
And is that D-Man? Would you? Obviously you would have to. You'd get rid of Olivier Vernon. You'd bring on Clowney. Whatever, plus or minus a couple of million here or there. The Browns could squeeze them in under the. Would you want it? I think it would be fantastic. Well, what do you think of adding Jadeveon Clowney? Do you think he's all that or more hype? What do you think?
I mean, BP, there are legitimate questions about his drive, shall we say, and concerns if he gets his money. Is he going to be motivated every snap? I guess, although I'd give him the benefit of the doubt if he came here. There's also injury concerns. I think what would be fascinating in the Clowney case is where he ends up and for how much, because I just don't see him getting anywhere close to what he initially thought he would.
BP, stay safe out there, and thanks for calling. We'll talk to you soon. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. TheScore.com ranks the top receiving corps in the NFL. We've got the Browns as third. Also, Tampa Bay with Tom Brady is number one, throwing to that receiving corps. Kansas City, trying to repeat Super Bowl champs, the Browns, then the Dallas Cowboys and New Orleans Saints. So they're pretty impressed. I'm not sure about the depth situation, but they're apparently just talking about the starters. William Hill's Sportsbook lists the odds for the 2020 Coach of the Year already. Let's take a look at what they have to say there. Bill Belichick from New England. I guess if he makes the playoffs, I suppose it makes him Coach of the Year. I don't know. Bruce Arians is second. Kyle Shanahan third. Mike McCarthy, now of Dallas, is fourth. Cliff Kingsbury, followed by Frank Reich and Kevin-Stefanski. They got him as the seventh Coach of the Year odds winner. Andy Reid is 8th, and Sean McDermott 9th, and John Harbaugh is 10th. What are you laughing at?
Well, Les, I mean, how in the world can William Hill put Stefanski ahead of Andy Reid and John Harbaugh? I mean, you know what? John Harbaugh is sitting on a machine in Baltimore, and Andy Reid, all he did was win the Super Bowl last year.
I'll tell you why. Here's my theory on that, and that is that William Hill, nobody's heard of William Hill. So if he just throws a team out there or a name of a coach and it happens to get lucky and hit, he gets to live off that for years. And if it doesn't hit, they'll say, who was that guy who came up with Stefanski as coach of the year?
Yeah, unless the Belichick thing is going to be phenomenal to keep an eye on, because he's dying to win again without Brady. I say again because he did it with Castle for that 1 year. He can't wait to get going with a nondescript quarterback and win games while Brady's down in Tampa Bay. Or some would say, the conspiracy theorists are claiming, this is the year for the Patriots to tank so they get Trevor Lawrence. I don't see it with Belichick. I see him grinding for as many victories as he can.
And you know what? As many victories as he can. He's now got another number to shoot for, and that's Don Shula's record. And Belichick needs 44 wins to tie that. That's over 10 wins a year for the next 4 years. How old is Belichick? 65?
Yeah, he's right in there.
Right in there. So you think if 44 is the tie, what do you think? Do you think he gets it?
I mean, yes, I do. I think he's going to keep going. And here's the thing, Les, too. Remember, if Belichick wanted Brady to remain in New England beyond 2019, it would have been done. Okay, there's no doubt. I mean, Belichick would have walked into Kraft's office and said, "Hey, Brady's not going anywhere." But he obviously didn't. He didn't prevent Tom Brady from leaving.
Well, your point is well taken if he'll still be coaching by that time, because if he was, he wouldn't want Brady 2-3 years down the road to have to get rid of him and then start again. So I think this is the timing was probably right in this case.
Yes.
216-575-0403. The great Dennis-Manoloff is with us. And we're here tomorrow night. Normally we're here from 6 until 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Tomorrow night we'll go from 7 until 8. We'll get your instant responses to the schedule and what that means. BP mentioned it before. I'd rather have the tough part of my schedule early, but we can talk about that also. Northeast Factory Direct, 3 locations, east, west, and south. West 140th Street, Lakeland Boulevard, and Freeway Drive. That's in Macedonia. But before you go anywhere, go to northeastfactorydirect.com. Sokolowski's University Inn, waiting to hear when they can open, and when they do, they'll be as good as ever, better than ever. Cleveland's oldest family-owned and operated restaurant, Mike and Bernie Sokolowski's University Inn. We'll come back in a moment. We'll take a break and we'll check out what's going on. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Celebrate Naturestone's 30-year anniversary with a free Naturestone floor. During 2020, we will be giving away 30 free floors to 30 very lucky customers to say thank you for making Naturestone the best concrete flooring solution for garages, basements, and more. Call or visit naturestone.com today to register to win, and we'll send you a copy of our new buyer's guide absolutely free. There's no purchase necessary. Winners will be chosen monthly. With over 30 million square feet installed for more than 60,000 customers, it's easy to see why I always say it's not just a floor. Wow, it's Naturestone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a line, a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just a mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
This stayed in Les-Levine history. A friend of Les, who was not a baseball fan, said, "What could be more boring than a game without any hits by a team?" You ever hear that logic on a no-hitter?
Yeah, exactly. I disagree.
And what am I doing having a friend who doesn't like baseball? What's wrong with me?
I hear you. Les, I got a correction I have to make.
Yep.
I was not still in school when Kerry Wood.
You obviously didn't take math either.
I mean, I went to a lot of games at Wrigley, but more at Comiskey for the White Sox. I was an American leaguer, but I got my wires crossed severely there. I was long out of school by the time Wood took the mound in 1998.
Honesty is the best policy, right?
Well, honesty and also the fact that my brain is cramped more so than ever. I've got to.
And we're trying to think if Bernie was the quarterback against Dallas or not.
What's that, Les?
We were trying to figure out if Bernie, and then if it was '93 when the Browns played at Dallas on Thanksgiving Day, because Bernie in the middle of '93 is when it all hit the fan with Vinny and Bernie. All right, we have a Facebook question of the day, and we'll check out your responses. What sport would you like to see come back first? Aaron Wood says NFL football. Curtis Richardson, NFL, and I'm satisfied. Chris R, football, only because there's still time to see a complete training camp and a full season of play. But I have to admit, I can't wait to hear the crack of the bat. Unfortunately, I think the NBA season is a wash. Much time has passed to restart a season in the playoffs at full throttle. Too much chance for injury. Good point. Not to mention unfair to teams that were still in playoff contention. Tim Gebhardt says baseball somehow, some way. Michael Galandia, baseball, watching the Korean League, they can do it, we can't. Andy Mees, baseball, since it's the one that should be in season right now, and if that returns first, that means some normalcy is returning sooner rather than later. Glenn Berger says baseball, I miss the daily games of Major League Baseball. For the most part, MLB is played every day, so there is always a game to look forward to. Dennis Davis, baseball, we've got a great manager and a shortened season. Francona never gives any game away. Dan Gillespie, baseball, really missing listening to games while out of the yard doing chores, especially since we have a good team, a great owner, and a wonderfully run organization. Then you have Lenny Obremski. I would think that the sports that were interrupted should return before other sports start up. Unfortunately, none of them can function until the world is healthy again. I have a complaint. You want to hear? No, I'll hold off on that till the time is right. But I do, just for the record, I have a complaint.
Don't tease us.
All right. I guess I do want to get it off my chest here. At my house, I have an American flag. It's been flying for as long as I've had the house. And in 2 consecutive days now, they're saying, you got a flag on your house. How can you support Trump? And then the next guy says, you got a flag on your house. What Biden? What is that all about? I'm an American. I'm proud of this country. I love this country. Wouldn't want to be anywhere else. We have a president, whether you agree, whether you don't agree, he's everybody's president, and we got to get that way. And you know what? If you don't like it, you vote him out, which you'll be able to do. But the fact that somebody looks at a flag and says, "Oh, you're a Trumpster," or "Oh, you're a Biden guy," I don't get it. Okay, I got it off my chest. Should I have done that or not?
100% Les. I agree with you. I don't understand why showing patriotism is political.
Okay.
It should be apolitical.
All right, let's go out and vote. That's all I can say. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. D-Man with us, Dennis-Manoloff. You've been following the Jordan episodes?
Yeah, the Last Dance. Yes,
Yeah.
I have. Fascinating, of course. We had to relive the shot during this process.
Did you know anything about Ron Harper saying he asked Lenny Wilkins to cover Jordan on that play?
Yeah, I mean, who am I, Les, to call out Ron Harper, because I love the poor man's Jordan when he was coming through the ranks and when he was establishing himself. but I find it awfully convenient that this comes out for the Last Dance episodes. I don't remember him saying that at the time, and neither do his teammates that we saw in print and also audio. Elo, that was news to Elo, it was news to Price. So I don't know that Harper made that call, but he claims he did.
Well, obviously, I think we all knew, although to not what the extent, we knew about Isaiah Thomas and Michael Jordan. What I find interesting, it's so obvious that Michael kept Isaiah out. Part of it, we all know they're talking about because they walked off the floor without shaking hands. But there was another incident when Jordan was in his first All-Star game, and Isaiah sort of led the way to say, "Don't throw the ball to him. Let's not make him look good." I think that's where the whole thing emanated from. But I'm just wondering, what I hadn't thought about is if Jordan did in fact keep Isaiah off. You had Chuck Daly, who was the coach of the team, and Chuck Daly was Isaiah's coach at Detroit, and I don't think he made a big deal about making him make the team.
No, Les, I'll say this. You're right about the Last Dance showing the palpable dislike between Jordan and Thomas and Jordan. But I think what happened in the case of the Dream Team is more than just Jordan said they don't want to play with Isaiah.
Right.
And at that point, then the coaching staff and USA Basketball really has no choice, because if USA Basketball wants this Dream Team and wants to tap into the pros, and enough of the pros are saying, we will not do this if Isaiah's on the team, then it doesn't matter who the head coach is. He's not coming.
No question about that. Dennis-Manoloff is with us, 216-575-0403. You want to get in for the last segment, you can do that. Don't forget, tomorrow night, normally we're on from 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Tomorrow we'll be on from 7 to 8 to take advantage of the schedule release, and we'll get your comments on that. If you can't catch us when we're normally on, 6 to 7, but you want to voice your opinion, you can do that at the voicemail of Truth and Reason. 216-200-6650 is the number to call. Leave a message, and we'll get to it, and we'll discuss it on the air. We'll come back one more time. More Sports and Les-Levine exclusively on cleveland.com.
Celebrate Naturestone's 30-year anniversary with a free Naturestone floor. During 2020, we will be giving away 30 free floors to 30 very lucky customers to say thank you for making Naturestone the best concrete flooring solution for garages, basements, and more. Call or visit naturestone.com today to register to win, and we'll send you a copy of our new buyer's guide absolutely free. There's no purchase necessary. Winners will be chosen monthly. With over 30 million square feet installed for more than 60,000 customers, it's easy to see why I always say, it's not just a floor, wow, it's Naturestone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget, Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students, kindergarten through 12th grade, can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Tomorrow night, again, well, you can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/more-sports-and-les-levine, with new content posted each and every day. Dennis-Manoloff is with us. All right, D-Man, you want some How Come Quickies here?
Yes, sir.
Suppose I could go through. You know, we've had some. I think there's a mutiny out there in the How Come Quickie people. I called them out on cheating. They stole from each other. They plagiarized. One guy says, well, he did it first. All right, here's Big Ed. How come I named my iPad the Titanic, so when I plug it in, it says the Titanic is sinking? S-Y-N-C-I-N-G. Big Ed, the second one is a good one. I can't use it, and you know it. Wally M. Wally Miskowski, the Benedictine guy. How come I'm friends with 25 letters of the alphabet, but I don't know why? You know Wally? You know Wally Miskowski? Great guy. Great guy.
That's good. That was a good one.
Cleveland Bill says, how come nobody knew that the terminal tower was even sick? I've always said one of the reasons we have an inferiority complex here in Cleveland is you have the terminal tower, you have Chagrin Boulevard, you have Dead Man's Curve. And by the way, I'm very serious about this. The powers to be has to take that Dead Man's Curve, which winds on 90 and going to the inner belt. You've got to put a flashing sign that actually says Dead Man's Curve, not danger. Dead Man's Curve will get your attention. That's my new thing. I'm not giving up until they actually say Dead Man's Curve. Remember Captain Penny? Good. Captain Penny was before your time. How come if Captain Penny put his 2 cents in, he wasn't in debt? Mr. Gullible, how come when the train owner asked the engineer how many cars derailed, he said, it's hard to keep track? This is the best compliment I can give. That is so stupid. How come when I got a strawberry on my leg from sliding into second base, the trainer put whipped cream on it? It's a different kind of strawberry, Mr. Gullible, and you know it. John Patrick said, this is so true. How come now that I can finally afford gasoline, I'm not allowed to go anywhere? Meanwhile, gasoline went up 40 cents in a day. You know, they say sometimes it's the weather that does it. All I can tell you is when there's a good day in weather, it doesn't come down. There's a quickie. All right, got about a minute, D-Man. What's on your mind?
What's on my mind is the NBA. If they listen to me, they can play. I think they should go to a truncated series in the playoff format. In other words, no more than best of 3, best of 5, and maybe a best of 7 final. But if not that, a March Madness in August. I get it. It's crazy. It's outside the box. It's something the NBA never does. But a global pandemic is an exception to the rule. I think if they put on a one-and-done tournament with 16 teams from a neutral site such as Las Vegas, it would do beaucoup ratings.
Okay, now I got to fess up just like you did about Kerry Wood. We checked out the Browns at Dallas on Thanksgiving Day. 1989, Bud Carson's first year.
Okay.
First of 2 years. So that would have been.
I don't remember that game, obviously.
Yeah, that would have been Bernie quarterbacking. All right, that'll do it for us. You got WTAM coming up tomorrow, right?
Yes, 7 to 10.
Excellent. We'll see you next Wednesday, okay?
Thank you, Les.
The D-Man, dennis-manoloff. All right, that'll do it for us. We'll see you tomorrow. Don't forget, 8 o'clock showtime. That'll be to take advantage of the schedule release for the Cleveland Browns and the NFL. See you then. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.